Hello, everybody. I'm Paul Ryden. The story is all too familiar. A single mom in a rundown neighborhood trying her best to raise a good son amid dire circumstances. But that son is a child with anger issues toward his absent father and surrounded by negative influences. What's a mother to do? Well, our guest today, Amid, has, through fiction, some words of advice. Her book is entitled A Mother's Prayer, Putting on the Armor of God. Welcome, Amid. How are you today?
I'm fine. Good morning. How are you?
I'm just very good. Thank you. Tell us what brought this story to mind and onto the pages of your book.
Uh, my son was deployed overseas in Iraq recently, and just like any mom, I was scared, and
Yeah, I guess so.
I just relied on God to protect him. And just when I was praying every night, it just kept building and building. And then finally, I was like, what can I do to protect him? And I'm like, well, the armor of God protects us. So I just started praying in the way of visualizing putting on the armor from head to toe. And it just kept building and building. And I just felt compelled to write.
Mhm.
I don't know where it came from. Well, I do know where it came from, and it came from God.
Yeah.
And so I just sat down one day and started typing, and I'm like, okay, where can I go with this? Okay, here's the intro. And then I brought in aspects of my own personal life here and there. And then I'm like, okay. And then I took from my mom's favorite movie or show was Quantum Leap. And that
Mm.
started me thinking, well, what could he get into, like what scenarios could happen. And so I kind of put them in a chronological aspect of my mother loved fantasy. So that's why there was dragons involved.
Uh-huh.
So then I just went from there, and each chapter was just his battle while he's in prison and dealing with the uncertainty of what could happen while he was there. And on the outside, his mother was praying diligently, and every time she would pray, and she was putting on the armor, and he would transpire and be thrust into a different world, different time, and he would have to use that armor and the good and the godliness that he had in him to overcome the obstacle and help others in the process. And then when he succeeded, he would get thrust back into his prison cell. And so he was going through that whole, okay, God is here for me, but like all of us, we fall short. And
Mhm.
he would struggle with when he was actually in prison, and he felt good when he was with God and felt godly, but then when he was back in reality, it was just depression, and which comes easy, I would think, when you're in prison.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I don't have that experience, so I know people who have, and so I just it really touched me to like try to entwine so many different emotions of myself into this book. So
Well, how different was your upbringing than that of the mother in this book?
I grew up with a single mom who was battled with alcoholism, and I went to 14 different schools before seventh grade.
Good grief.
And my grandmother was always in my life. She was steadfast. She was godly. She's the one who brought me to church the first time. She was just this woman that I don't, it's a grandma. It's a grandma. So she was
Yeah.
just the best thing in the world to me. And so the chapter about the grandmother is very much about my grandmother. And so, yeah, so in seventh grade, my grandmother said, I'm done. She's like, Angela does really well in school, and she needs to be somewhere that she can stay. And so I went to my grandmother's and stayed there till I graduated.
Well, it's great to have that kind of influence in your life, especially when it's a spiritual influence like that, which has obviously been a very important part of your life. Did it only become part of your life after your grandmother got hold of you?
No, I had a rough upbringing. From what I understand, like I was in foster care the first year and a half of my life,
Really?
due to my mother's drinking. And then family had stepped in at some point, and my grandmother, I know we went moving. I would go back and forth to my school multiple times. So half a year here, half a year there. So it wasn't like 1 year constant. It
Yeah.
was half here, half here. So the school I ended up with was one that I had been in the same town with my grandmother. So my grandmother took me to church very young, and I was saved in 1983, April 22nd, 1983, by a woman named Andrea. She helped me accept Jesus into my heart. I just felt a tug in my heart. I was at the back of the church, and I was there with my grandma, and I felt this tug, literally a tug in my chest. And as
Mhm.
a 10-year-old little kid, I was scared. And I'm like, what is this? What is going on? And it was a physical tug. And I felt like I have to get up. I have, and I was scared to walk in front of this huge church and all these people. And I walked up there and accepted Christ. And so yeah, my grandmother's always been in my life. She's precious.
Well, that's amazing. Um, Obviously, the spiritual element, but you're also a big proponent of education as a means to break the cycles of poverty and helplessness and hopelessness.
Yes.
In what ways?
As I remember in first grade, my teacher, I loved her, and I remember I wanted to become a teacher. And so in high school, my educators actually created the program for teaching assistants for high schoolers. And so I was able to be the first teaching assistant in my high school back in the 80s,
No kidding.
aging myself here. And
Well,
so,
I got you there. Don't worry.
and I just, I felt like I needed to teach. And so I went into education and taught for almost 30 years.
Mhm.
Ended up with my master's in education. And I never, it's, I wasn't your normal teacher because when I graduated college, there wasn't many teaching positions in Ohio. There was a lot of charter schools coming about,
Mhm.
but and I was hired, but the doors never opened. So and then 9/11 happened, and I went into EMS. And
Yeah, it seems to me you're the kind of person that you see something, it inspires you, and you go after it. September 11th is an example of that. Where were you, and how did you respond?
I actually had four children at that time. I was at home. My daughter was in school, and my three young sons. I have twins and a younger son who's only a year and a half younger than them. And those three were sitting on the couch, probably watching some cartoon of some sort. And all of a sudden, it just stopped. They were crying, mad that the cartoon went away. So I go in to check the channel, and I'm like just standing there. And it was, so I was in Cleveland. I was in Mayfield Heights at the time.
Mhm.
And I was just watching, and I couldn't move.
Yeah.
And I went right to the school, picked my daughter up, I came home, and I called like everyone I knew. Just, I needed that reconnection. I needed that communication with those that I love. So
Mhm. But then you went right to work doing something. You didn't just sit around and feel badly for you and us. You went after it. What did you do?
I didn't have any prospects of hires or anything of that nature, but I just put myself through basic EMT school and then looked for a job. And I was offered a position right away in a ER. And then I went into the actual field on the squad, and I did that. I actually still do that part time locally. So it was easier to find a full time position doing that than it was an education position at the time. And so I would run my 24 hours and substitute teach on my days off. And I did that for probably a decade.
Mhm.
And then I would find whenever I taught, it seemed like every school I went to was a inner city, low income school. And I was always told the kids they won't accept you. You're not the right. I'm not the right person.
Yeah,
And
sure.
and I was like, it's not about that. I said, poor knows poor, and I can reach them.
Hmm.
And I did. And I still have connections with my students from 20 years ago. They reach out to me and let me know, hey, Misty, I'm a nurse now, or
Mm.
and I don't live in Lima, Ohio anymore. And I just let them know that the world's big. And just because you're brought up a certain way doesn't mean you have to end up that way.
You seem like a really a go-getter. I mean, what is a typical day for you like? I mean, do you have a time when you write every day, or do you just see what God brings you that day and says, "Here's what I'm going to do"? What is your day like?
My day is just, if you really want to know how my day is
I
recently,
really want to know how your day is going.
well, we had a house fire last October.
Oh no.
So we are in the process of rebuilding.
Oh.
The footers and walls are done. So we have an inspection tomorrow for that. So hopefully that passed. We pray that that passed.
Mhm.
We also started remodel or refabbing trailers for um, starting a business of flipping trailers for of providing low cost rental housing for people. And
Mhm.
we're just doing our first flip. So typically I'm either at my home site, checking on things, at the trailer site, checking on things, babysitting grandchildren, doing activities with my grandkids constantly. I have 5 beautiful grandkids. And then I connect with family, friends, check on them. I consider her my niece. I have a niece right now who's um, pregnant with twins, and she's currently in the hospital, and
Mm.
praying for that situation because both waters have broken. So, and she's only 18 weeks.
Oh, wow, you've got a
So
busy
just
life. And you also, among all that stuff, you have a little Facebook page called All Things Related.
all things related.
All Things Related. And I couldn't find it on Facebook. So you got to tell us how to find it, one thing. And then you also have to read us a sample of one of your quirky poems.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, let's hear it.
Um, okay, let me pick one here. Uh, they're crazy.
You probably ought to compile those into a book at some point too.
I feel like I have another book I've already written that I'm
Good.
going to send to my publisher, and it's Chronicles of the Heart. So it's based on Chronicles.
Oh, very good. Okay.
I'm trying to figure out which one I wrote.
They must all be so good. You're having a hard time figuring out the best one, huh?
No, it's just they're not, I don't write in a typical style. I don't
That's
write
okay.
with rhyming words always. I don't write. So I'll just read this one. It's
All right,
fine.
go for it.
Alas, awake, I cannot sleep. My eyes are heavy as I weep. Hold me tenderly, whisper in my ear. Tell me that you love me. Always keep me near. Fear of fear is killing me. Time is short indeed, but my joy in loving you is planted with one seed. 3 words. I love you.
That's sweet. How can people find you online, your presence online, and get your books too, for that matter?
The All Things Related is connected to my personal Facebook. So I'm thinking if they search my name, Angela Decker, All Things Related, they
Mhm.
would possibly find it that way. Um,
Now, we've said your name is Amid.
um,
That's the name you use as the author, but you are Angela. How did that come about?
the Amid,
Yeah.
growing up, my stepfather's name started with an M, and then my marriage was with an I, and my maiden name is a D. So Amid,
And you're
my
amid all the things you're doing. There you go.
and and our rental properties are called amidst
Okay.
surroundings. So
Well, they'll find you. Hey, listen, the book is A Mother's Prayer, Putting on the Armor of God, and it's available on Amazon. Angela, Amid, however you want to go by, thank you so much for joining us today from Ohio. It's great talking with you, and have a lovely day.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet. And thank you, folks, for spending a few minutes with us on the Global Book Network. I'm Paul Ryden. We'll see you next time.